Okay, we're back at the Model A. Your block bolts, I torqued to 125. My head bolts, I torqued to 125, starting with the oil bolt, the one that goes on the little like oil fitting, and I worked to this one, and I worked around in a clockwise fashion like this. Then I started back over. I got to put 80 on there, 100, 110, 120, 125. And then I retorqued them all again this morning to make sure that everything was okie dokie. I put 85 on these, on the rocker. So 85, 125, 125. Don't know what I'm going to do on the intakes yet. I need to take and research that. We're in the midst of putting it together where I can start it. I've kind of put my oil line back on, an oil gauge, so I can test it. I've got a magneto from another tractor, from my other Model A. Doesn't matter which way the magneto goes on. It can be 180 out or whatever. You'll just have to figure it out. You know, I mean, if you want to turn it around so this one's left and this one's right, or however you want to do it, you know, but it's not going to matter because it's a two-cylinder tractor. There's a timing mark right here on this piece of cast iron on your governor housing. There's a timing mark on your magneto, so I'm going to line those up, tighten it down. The bolt's a little too big, so I put some washers underneath it just for right now, because I have a real small bolt or a real big bolt. This side should snap, but it should be on the passenger side, correct? And then this should be the driver's side. There she goes. You got a spark. If you took your magneto or your governor housing off, there's a cam gear and the governor and the gears. There's timing marks on those. There's timing mark on the crankshaft and the cam gear as well. There's an alignment mark right here. You can see it on that cover. And then there's one that says impulse. So you want to line those up like that, and that means we're at TDC on number 1. Now let me show you how to set your valves. TDC on number 1, and then what you're going to want to do is loosen up all your bolts. I put a different head on, different valves, lap the valves myself. This is a different rocker assembly off another tractor, so it's not even going to be close. Okay, so number 1, when it impulses, that means when the engine fires. When the engine fires, both of these valves should be closed. So these caps should be relatively snug. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a 20 thousandths feeler gauge. Got a little tight there. A 20 thousandths feeler gauge. Now this is when it's hot, so I'm going to set these at 20 thousandths for right now, but after I run it for a little while, I'm going to recheck them when it's hot. I'm going to leave my valve cover off for right now when I start it, but after a while I will put it on to let it run a little while and bring it up to temperature, be able to take the valve cover off, then I can check them again. Okay, so we've got that one right on the money. Then you tighten down your nut. Then you go to your intake side, and that one's a little tight, so we're going to loosen that. And that's about right. Okay, so then we're going to tighten those down. And once you tighten these down, you need to hold on to this so this whole thing doesn't move. So you need to put a whatever 5/8 on this and tighten it down with your 9/16. Then what you do is you swing this 180 out. You'll hear it click. There she goes. Now when she clicks there, that means the other set are closed. But they're not. So what you'll need to do is adjust these as well, and then take a look at them and make sure that looks right. So when one cylinder fires, the left-hand cylinder fires, these should be at 20 thousandths. Swings back around, these should be at 20 thousandths when you hear that click. You hear that click, you know it's going to fire because the magneto's firing. Whenever the engine's firing, these valves should be closed, and the lash should be at 20 thousandths. Okay. Mag off the other tractor. That's good. Don't have my intake back yet. I couldn't find any studs, so I have bolts that go in there. Hope they work. They should. And I have carburetor off my other tractor, so we should be able to make this work. Anything else I'm missing? Can't think of anything. I think that's as far as we went. I only had 5 quarts of oil in it, so I put about 4 more quarts into it to have it coming out the other side, the little valve on the other side down there. You open that up. Oil comes out of that, you know you're full. So I filled it up, topped it off with oil as well. Okay, probably sometime this week we'll get it running.